Good day everyone, I am Delosres Rizalin from BTLAD ICT 1C and I am the little teacher of the Study Hub number 4. So our topic is all about learner-centered teaching and foundations and characteristics. Let's have a short description of what is learner-centered teaching. So, learner-centered teaching is a system of instruction that places the student in its heart and core. It is teaching that facilitates active participation and independent inquiry and seeks to instill among students the joy of learning both inside and outside the classroom. So let's proceed to our discussion. Learner-centered teaching and its definition. So what is learner-centered teaching? The term learner-centered teaching refers to a wide variety of ends that are intended to address the distinct learning needs, interests, aspirations, or cultural backgrounds of individual students, groups of students. Following are the different definitions of learner-centered from multiple perspectives of educators and scholars. Learner-centered learning has been defined most simply as an approach to learning in which learners choose not only what to study but also how and why the topic might be of interest.
Good day everyone! I'm Pablayalin Faburada, number 2 of Study Hub number 4. So before I would like to proceed to our new discussion, first let us have a short recap. In a previous reporter, we already know about the short description of learner-centered teaching. So, learner-centered teaching, it is a system of instruction that places the student in its heart and core. It is teaching that facilitates active participation and independent inquiry and seeks to instill among students the joy of learning both indoor and outside the classroom. So now let's proceed to our new discussion. So the shift from the teacher-centered to learner-centered teaching involves a fundamental transformation in educational philosophy and practice. So teacher-centered philosophies like essentialism and perennialism place us on the role of the teacher as the central authority and knowledge provider, while learner-centered approaches prioritize the student's active participation and individual needs. Now, let us tackle the teacher-centered philosophies. So, in the teacher-centered philosophies, we have the essentialism. So, essentialism emphasizes teaching common core of essential knowledge and skills that are deemed critical for students to become productive members of the society. So in essentialism, it focuses the teacher is the authority figure who transmits knowledge and maintains a structured, disciplined classroom environment. So essentialism, it is a subject-centered emphasizing traditional academic disciplines like mathematics, science, history, and literature. So the goal of essentialist teacher is to instill cultural literacy, moral values, and practical skills necessary for societal functioning. So the students are expected to absorb and master the foundational knowledge provided by the teacher through repetition, practice, and assessment. So now, let's proceed to perennialism. So, perennialism focuses on teaching ideas and principles that are timeless and universal, emphasizing intellectual development over vocational and practical skills. So, in perennialism, the teacher serves as a guide to help students engage with classic works of literature, philosophy, and art, promoting rational thought and critical analysis. In perennialism, it is a centered ground enduring works of the Western canon, such as those by Plato, Aristotle, Shakespeare, and other great thinkers. The goal of perennialism is to cultivate intellectual rigor and lifelong pursuit of truth, focusing on reasoning and moral development. So in perennialism, students are passive recipients of knowledge and are expected to engage in deep structured learning based on traditional methodologies like Socratic questioning. In the teacher-centered philosophies, it contrasts with the learner-centered philosophies. So in learner-centered, it approaches the focus shifts to the active participation of students in their learning process, allowing for the students to have a collaboration and discussion. So, customization of learning, experiences to meet individual needs, and encouragement of critical thinking and problem-solving skills. This shift challenges the rigid hierarchical nature of teacher-centered philosophies like essentialism and perennialism. So that would be all, and thank you for listening.
Traditional teacher-centered approaches that rely heavily on lectures and rote memorization. So here are some key characteristics of progressivism in education. First, we have the experiential learning. Learning is achieved through active participation and hands-on activities rather than passive absorption of information. Students learn by doing. Second, we have the holistic development. Progressivism aims to develop the whole child intellectually, socially, emotionally, and physically. It recognizes that learning is not just by acquiring knowledge but also about developing essential life skills and personal growth. Third, we have the problem-based learning. Students engage in solving real-world problems, applying their knowledge and skills to find solutions. This fosters critical thinking and problem-solving abilities. Fourth, we have the student-centered approach. The focus is on the student's needs and interests. Teachers act as facilitators, guiding and supporting students as they explore their learning. Students often have a voice in the learning process and participate in decision making. In short, progressivism views education as a dynamic and interactive process where students are active participants in their own learning journey. It emphasizes relevance, application, and the development of well-rounded individuals.
first topic is the learner-centered philosophies. There are three philosophies, which is number one, progressivism, number two, humanism, and number three is constructivism. So in progressivism class, it is a focuses in educational or instance toward experiential learning with focus on developing the whole child. In other words, it is the progress of the child. Next is humanism. Humanism, a term of humanism is amicus, or in other words, humans. So in constructivism, when you say constructivism is learner or builders or creators of meaning and knowledge, right? So now let us move to my topic, which is the dimensional learner-centered teaching. So dimensional of learner-centered teaching is according to Walmer 2000. There are five practices or dimensions that needs to change to achieve learning-centered teaching. So the number one is function of content. In addition to building a knowledge base, the content of students to build an appreciation for value of content. So the student may build appreciate toward the content and meet it is valuable. So next is build discipline specific learning methodologies. So in the content, student must build a discipline specific or the process in learning. So the next is practice using inquiry or ways of thinking and discipline. So the student must practice in using inquiries or ways of thinking because if they create a content, they must find a way of thinking to it. So next is learn to solve real problems. So learn to solve real problems. Students will learn a lot to solve the real problem. Example, they encounter a problem and studying, they need to solve it. So next is students engage in most the content to make it their own. Student make meaning out of the content. So if the student make a content, it is necessary their own because if they create a meaning. So next is content can help students develop and organize framework or ways to learn in their field. So the student make a content, it is a way to develop or organize their framework to their field. And the last is content. Content is free so that students are see it how can it be applied. So the student is free of the content they make so that can apply it to the future. So the next is the role of the instructor. So the instructor creates an environment that fosters students' learning. So the role of the instructor is to foster the learning or to encourage the students in learning. So next is accommodate different learning styles. So the instructor must accommodate a different learning style because not every student may have a different learning style. So the next is discipline aligns objectives, teaching method, and assessment consistently. So the instructor must create a aligns objectives in teaching method and assessment so that the student understands it better and learn something to learn teaching. So next is utilizes multiple teaching techniques appropriate for student learning goals. So the instructor needing it to utilize a technique to in their teaching so that the student can learn something in there or can get a techniques on how to teach. Next is design activities in which students interact with the material, the teacher, and teacher. So, and design activities it is very important when the teacher is discussing in front or using the visual aid. It is important to case, the student must understand clearly, like in attending classes, asking questions if the student will not understand better, participating in the class, and knowledge. So, and last is time management. Time management, individuals are allocating time and resources to learning. Balance it with other responsibilities. So, time management is very important to us because we can balance our time to do other responsibilities. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day to each and everyone. I am Mayan Shirley, so I will discuss the dimension of learner-centered teaching. So number 4 is the purpose of the process of assessment. First, I will discuss the purpose of assessment. So assessment serves several key purposes in education and professional contexts. So number 1, we have here a diagnostic purpose. What if those identities, learnings, strengths, weakness, knowledge gaps, and learning needs before instructions begins. So examples, we need student pre-test, diagnostics, quizzes, or skill assessment. Number 2, we need a formative purpose. What if those? Provides ongoing feedback during the learning process to help students improve and guide instructional strategies. Example, quizzes, drafts with discussions, peer reviews. Number 3, we need summative purpose. Summative purpose, evaluate students' learning at the end of an instructional unit by comparing it against standards or benchmark. So example, final exams and of-term projects, standards and tests. So number 4, we have here evaluate purpose. So evaluate purpose measures the effectiveness of curriculum, teaching methods, or an educational program. Example, program evaluations, teacher performance reviews. Number 5, placement purpose. So the placement purpose determines the appropriate level of course of a learner based on their current skills and knowledge. Example, language proficiency test, math placement test. So number 6, their last certification and accountability purpose. What if those? Provide official recognition of skills or competencies, often for professional qualifications. Example, licensing exams, professionals, or certifications. So now, we can proceed to the process of assessment. The process of assessment, the assessment process typically involves the following steps. First, planning and designing assessment. Define learning objectives or outcomes to be assessed, and choose appropriate assessment methods, tests, projects, presentations, etc. Develop assessment criteria and rubrics for continuous evaluation. So we have here settings clear criteria. Establish clear, measurable standards to judge performance. Ensure they align with learning goals and are transparent to learners. So we have here also administrating the assessment. Conduct assessments under appropriate conditions, time exam, presentations, practical tasks, etc. Ensure fairness, stability, and integrity in the process. Number 5 topic, balance of the power. Balance of the power. This dimension refers to the distribution of decisions-making authority between the teacher and the students. In traditional classrooms, the teacher holds most of the power, deciding what to teach, how to teach, and how to assess. However, in learner-centered environments, power is more evenly shared. So we have here key aspects of the balance of the power. First, shared decisions-making. Students are involved in decisions about learning activities, classroom rules, and even assessment criteria. Teaching act as facilitators or guides, not just authority figures. So number 2, students' autonomy. Learners have the freedom to choose topics of interest, learning paths, or project formats. We have here also collaborative learning. Emphasis on group discussion, peer-to-peer learning, and cooperative projects where all voices are valued. So why its importance? Importance empowers students to take charge of their learnings, fosters independent thinking and self-motivations, create a more engaging and inclusive classroom environment. Thank you.